Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out PEPE COIN's price chart. And if you remember, in the previous video, we talked about the idea of having a starting from this point to about the highest side, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulsive structure, which we said it can be a very optimistic sign suggesting the bottom is in, but we need to be a bit more patient because after a 5 wave up, one way or the other, whether you want to be bullish or bearish in short term, we are going to get a move on the downside, and we need to pay full attention to the shape of that move. Also, we said you are allowed to in here consider some extension structures, which suggests that from here we are probably going to have some more upward price action. But we said usually we are not that lucky, and guess what, we weren't really that lucky. Now the question for today's update is this: can we argue this is a correction structure, and maybe our move down in PEPE has ended right in here? So let's zoom in and see what is going on. And right out of the bat, here is what I have to tell you. I'm actually completely failing to find a 5 wave impulsive structure in this area. In best case scenario, I can tell you that from this high we are having wave 1 correction for 2, another move down into wave 3 correction for 4, and another move down into wave 5 to about, let's say, this point doesn't really matter a whole lot. Now here's the situation. Followed by that, I think we may end up having something like an A, B, C running flat, and I think maybe it's actually best to argue the end of our wave 5 was right in here. Again, generally doesn't really matter a whole lot. The point that I'm trying to make is this: look, I think this is a 5 wave down followed by an A, B, C running flat up. And the reason, the main one actually, for why I'm trying to tell you this is probably a flat structure is due to the fact that in here we are absolutely having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is allowed into the C leg of a flat structure. And what do we have from the highs to about the lows? I think this might be another beautiful 5 wave on the downside. And well, you can technically argue that in PEPE these are the subwaves for, an A, B, C zigzag, and maybe we have hit our final low. But finding complete subwaves for a correction structure to about the lowest low is a good reason to be bullish, no arguments there. However, I don't really think it's actually enough. So here's the situation. If you want to be bullish and you want to call, for example, this point our final low, then okay, find me off of it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave in order for me to sort of kind of flip bullish and argue, what, maybe there is actually like a good chance we have hit our final low. Now, having said that, let's go on the live chart and see what is going on. Maybe it's best to go on 5-minute time frame. And by the way, in my own time, I honestly rarely go on such lower time frames, but this is for the sake of educational purposes, so I'm thinking it's fine. Okay, here's what's going on. I'm actually fine saying that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave followed by a correction down, probably an A, B, C flat, and then we are having in here yet another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. But that's it. We are having only 2 sets of 5 waves on the upside, and as you can see in this phase, now we are having overlapping of the waves between this move down and also this one right in here. And you might right away say, well, okay, can we have something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And since in here we are having overlapping of the waves, and also our supposedly wave 3 seems to be bigger than 1, well, okay, maybe this is going to be an expanding leading diagonal. The answer to that is yes, we can technically argue that. However, in my view, that's probably not likely, and there's like a very good chance we are having in this whole phase up in PEPE just a correction structure. And by the way, here is a fun fact for you: if we get like, let's say, another move up from here in order to take this high, at that point maybe you should count on yet another move up in order to take this high, but then we should probably have yet another move on the downside. And I'll be honest with you, at that point, I'm not going to be necessarily sure about whether we are having a correction or an impulse, because right now we really do not have the subwaves for this phase right in here. When we get that, I think we can have a bit more clear of a picture about what is happening in this area. But for now, based on what I'm seeing, I'm here to tell you in the short term, sure, we may see a move up, but be careful, that might be just part of a correction off of this lowest low right in here, meaning what? The next move is going to be maybe a decent one down. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in PEPE. And until the next updates, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.